There is so much that, of course, I have to share, and unfortunately, lately, I have not had a lot of time on my hands. I am in the midst of still searching for a job, along with starting seminary. I started last week doing that, and there's a lot of prep work involved. And I'm also in a new relationship, so that takes time, as well as just helping out with women's ministry. And the Her newsletter is about to be published once more. So I'm the editor of that and also a writer and journalist and such. So yeah, there's been a lot on my plate lately, and I totally apologize because I have been wanting to get a video out way sooner than today. But here we are, February 1st, 2009. I am officially recording the video. I just want to start out by saying that it has been such a blessing to get to walk with so many of you. I love the emails that I get, and just knowing that you all are praying for me and that I have this amazing opportunity to share with you and to pray for you as well, and just walk through that tough stuff in life together. I have just been so blessed in that way, and have cried tears for you, have rejoiced with you when things have gotten better, and just all together, I really love that we get to share life together. And if you haven't contacted me through messaging or whatnot, please do, because I am more than willing to engage in conversation with you and just be a part of your life, because ultimately, like, we are in this together. We are a body of believers following after Jesus Christ. And I talk so much in these videos about what it means to walk through suffering. And I think a huge piece of being able to walk through suffering is being able to share in those sufferings with others, and to encourage one another, and also to take the comfort that the Lord has given us, as it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, and share that comfort with others. And this is just such an awesome place to be able to connect and do such a thing. I never thought I would be on YouTube, but God has a sense of humor, I guess, right? So here I am. I just want to start out today by sharing with you where I was this time 4 years ago. This time 4 years ago, I was living in a hospital, and I had been there for about a month and a week, I think, by this point in time, for anorexia nervosa. And I was living with these wonderful women, probably 15 others, and we were walking together through recovery. And some of us wanted to be there, and others of us fought being there. But I actually entered into recovery during that time period because I came to the realization that the eating disorder was killing me. So often, girls and women, we get this outer viewpoint of like how we want our bodies to be, and we go after it in these very unhealthy ways, including restricting or binging and purging or over exercising. And we think that when the outside of us begins to slim, that somehow we're accomplishing something amazing, and we feed off of that instead of feeding off of food. And at the very same time, we can't even see truly what we're becoming. It's just I think of it like when people go into the house of mirrors, and like they walk through in different mirrors, they perceive themselves differently. That's eating disorders. One day we can actually begin to see something of what we think is positive, and then the very next day we see something that is so destructive and so awful, and we want to destroy, that weight that we magically gained overnight or whatnot, and just so much deception that goes into all of it. But anyhow, I didn't realize when I was in my eating disorder that I was shrinking on the outside, let alone that I was shrinking so much inwardly. my heart actually, like my heart muscle began to shrink because there wasn't enough fat in my body that I was taking in to eat, that my body would process. My body began to eat the fat of itself. Basically, my body began to eat itself. And it didn't start with the heart, but eventually the heart is a muscle, and muscle can be broken down. And most of you probably already know all of this, but if you have an eating disorder, eventually, if it gets bad enough, and it doesn't take very long for it to get very severe, your body, the organs, well, and your heart organ as well, will start to be destroyed and will shrink. And not to mention the fact that I lost like over 1.5 inches of bone mass during this period of time when I was starving myself. So all of that to say, I became really scared at the reality of what was occurring in my life, and I realized that the eating disorder was taking over and that it was not good. It was awful, 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 and I was scared. I began to faint places. I began to feel really dizzy all the time. My thoughts couldn't connect because I was just lacking so much nutrition that my brain function was slowing down as well. And I decided, after talking with a friend, that I needed to go ahead and turn myself into a hospital and get some help. And so as I look at where I am today, and it's funny because I'm like not in that place anymore to where I need to be with a therapist and a nutritionist and group therapy. Like, I don't need all of that anymore. I need Jesus every day to get through everything, but I don't need all of that. And it's just amazing to see God's grace in my life work and orchestrate in such a way that He has sustained me for so many years now. So many people will say, well, once you get out of the hospital, you're probably going to enter in the next year or 2 years or whatnot. And the average recovery process takes, so long. And I was just reflecting the other day that I'm okay. Like, I can go out to eat with friends. Actually, ice cream. I can have ice cream and shakes and all of that. I can enjoy food and enjoy life and fellowship that involves food. And I feel very blessed for that. And I also recognize that many of you are not there. And I just want to give you that encouragement that God is faithful to complete the works that He has started. And if He has started to stir your heart to focus on recovery, that He will be faithful to complete it in you. Not to say that the enemy doesn't prick little lies, because the enemy definitely does. There will be days where I'll wake up and I'll go to the mirror and I'll look in the mirror, and all of a sudden I think I'm like 10 sizes bigger than I was the day before. And I haven't restricted in a really long time, but the enemy knows that that's what can get me down. And I've come to this point where I trust more sometimes upon how my clothes fit, sometimes upon what other people say, because I know how the lies can consume me if I continue to stare at that mirror and go, how did this happen? This is horrible, da da da. And amazingly, so often, that probably happens once a week. Lately, at least, I've been pretty attacked, so probably once a week. And the next day, when I go and I wake up and I look in the mirror, it's different. I'm a different person in the mirror again. And so I just say that to encourage you also, because it's not always easy to walk this out in recovery, but if you go about it and you're intentional and you realize that this is going to be a battle and that not everything you see is true, God will be faithful to get you through, and He will sustain you.